Both Gene and Mike in the accounting department have been providing what's needed for Jimmy to get this company underway. In addition to that, we submitted our Indian housing plan on the 15th. I'm going to anticipate that in the coming weeks, 2 proposed new policies will be presented for public input before we present a what we consider to be a final draft to the Tribal Council for your review and approval. I'm thinking, a 30-day turnaround to get it all done. I'm hoping by the middle of February we can have a resolution to approve 2 new policies, which we have put into the Indian housing plan as something we want to do during the next year. Again, those 2 policies real quickly. One will be to help out elders who are private homeowners that need rehab to help fix their home. The other one will be the down payment closing cost assistance program. They both will be modest to start with, but we believe that we can help out our people more than just the maintenance of our tribal housing that we own. I did go up on January the 9th to Emporia, Kansas, visited with Bryce Obermeyer, the director of our Historic Preservation Office. We've closed out the NAGPRA grant. He will be presenting reports to propose a repatriation and reburial of human remains and funerary objects held in 2 different locations, one in Ohio and one at the State Museum in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. So I would anticipate, it's a good thing we met with the representatives from Delaware Nation, because we are going to need to figuratively hold hands with them and participate in this. So I think building those good relations with them and their visit today is going to help out in that. When we get closer to planning and implementing a repatriation from our standpoint, I don't have a projected date when that's going to be, but it is on the agenda for something that this Historic Preservation wants to initiate and get done, hopefully during this calendar year of 2015. I will be going up on January 31st up to the Lawrence property with our secretary, Dr. Michael, Michelle, you're coming up, and Benita, you're coming up. We'll be driving up on the 31st. The Pines are moving out of that house, and I just wanted to show off the property. Brian Pine can explain to us how the sod farm lease is working, and just kind of get an idea of the size and scope of that property. And I look forward to continued discussions after this meeting, where we can set up a conference call with Tom Peckham on the trust fund litigation issues and develop a plan over the next couple of months that we can get a negotiation team, set up appointments up in Washington, and work on negotiating this instead of having to go to court and go into litigation. As you know, we had a meeting with Sherry Ratcliffe, who is the administrator for our Community Development Block Grant, which will be building a new child care center here on campus. And we will be receiving monthly reports after this meeting. We will begin to receive monthly reports on the status of that Community Development Block Grant. As you may recall, in that meeting we had, they're projecting by the end of October that building will be constructed. It's nice to hear the ambitious plan. I hope it happens, but...
Well, and I think I said, how about we say first of the year? And she said, yeah, that's probably a safer bet.
Right. I went ahead and worked with Pat Donnell of the election board and managed to get that office vacated, and I'm in the transition of setting up one office for council members and then move over into that office number 3. So we're in transition right now on that. Those are the hot items on my plate at the moment. Again, I'm going to have a staff meeting tomorrow morning with my department heads and go over some things that we need to discuss and handle internally, but that is the gist of my report.
Curtis, can I ask you if you would share the information regarding the election items, how that was handled by removing those items out of that office, and just to share with everyone, knowing that everything was handled correctly?
Well, right. We just wanted to make sure that a member of the election board was on site, inspecting our handling of any documents that are related to the 2014 election.
And no elected officials were involved.
That's correct. That's correct. And
nowhere near the room.
Right. No, nobody was in there that's an elected official, and we got everything moved in. It is under lock and key. I'm just hoping to hear from our election board chair sooner or later to determine the final placement and security of the documents that came out of the election. But yeah, we're moving on, occupying that space. That work? Okay.
I just have a few. Well, I wanted to thank you for going and checking on Bryce, for one. I have expressed some concerns for our Delaware Tribal Historic Preservation Office, and I feel it's hanging out there a little loosely, and we want to start pulling that back in. So I expressed concern in December, and I appreciate you going and following up on that. But I'm also curious as to any questions. Did you get any information from our Section 106 kind of consultations, or was that a part of any discussion, or are we still just, working on the NAGPRA issues at this point?
It's the NAGPRA issues that we did discuss. We did not go into detail at all on, other than it's on the agenda for discussion on the Section 106 matters.
Okay, and he got in touch with me, so I just want to make sure of what you covered, and he has offered to come talk to the tribal members and start working more closely with tribal members as well. He is also putting a lot more, or a lot less distance between his offices and the tribe, so that we have access to some of those documents. Right,
and Council, just real quickly, to look back how this came about, Bryce was hired on to manage a NAGPRA grant several years ago. He has become a professor at Emporia State University, and by virtue of his residency and as a faculty at Emporia State University, we managed to work out something with the university officials, and they actually gave office space to the Delaware tribe for the establishment of a historic preservation office. That's where he does a lot of his work in answering many of these consultation requests. It's a modest little space, more office, but we do. I've got some photographs I could email you all. And, they've got a display case and a few artifacts and things that are up there. Not much. Most of our stuff is here. But the university was very open to the visit. They'd like for us to come up, have a presence, get involved in any kind of, guest lecture, anything, any involvement in elevating the profile of the Native American students that are on the campus. They would love our presence and support in anything coming up during the school year. So I think we are looking at something. One opportunity this spring as a guest speaker, and then perhaps in November, during their Native American Heritage Month, they would like to see one of our cultural contingencies go up and do a presentation for their student body. So far that's good, but I do agree, the Historic Preservation Office can and should be, perhaps from a proximity standpoint, be closer to headquarters here. But it is, I will say, it's not an unmanageable thing, and we're fortunate to have the facility that is afforded to us at this time.
There's Nancy Sumter, I think, and Susan.
I'm gonna turn around here. I don't feel comfortable turning my back on the council.
I had a question on the Pines property.
It's the Delaware tribe property.
Whatever. But January 31st, you're going up there, correct?
That is correct.
Now, it was my understanding that this was put under LTI Enterprises. The deed, has that been changed to Delaware tribe? And did we not do away with LTI Enterprises? Or am I wrong?
Jean's shaking her head back there.
The answer,
Yes.
may I, do you want me to speak on behalf of the council, or do you all want to handle that?
I'll do it. Yes and yes.
Yes and
LTI
yes.
has been, as far as I know, either dissolved or suspended, and the deed to the property is in the name, or should be in the name by now, of the Delaware tribe.
It is.
Okay, wonderful. The second part of that question was, how much were the taxes, since it's not trust property, how much is the taxes for this 93 acres of land that we have to pay?
Susan, I'll have to make a note of that and go back and pull the tax statement. I don't have that information right off the top of my head, but I will get that and provide it.
If you'll excuse me, Mr. Susan, last time I looked at the tax roll on it, I was kind of astounded. It was fairly low because it's agricultural use. Whereas Taney, I think they hit us for 25,000. If I remember correctly, it was about a tenth or less of what Taney was because of the agricultural.
Well, I was kind of curious, I know agricultural land is cheaper.
Yeah.
But since it has a house and it has buildings on it, those are improvements, so the cost of the taxes would be higher. I was just kind of curious on what we as a tribe have to pay for those taxes.
I don't believe we've received an invoice yet for the property taxes, have we? Gene?
We have, and we paid our property taxes for 2014, and I could have that bill.
Gene, can you recall what they were? Am I wrong or
I
right?
think they were less than $2,000. What? It was less than $2,000. It was small, very small. And
Would it be possible, Gene, for you to get those figures to Curtis and he can email them to Susan?
yes, yes.
Would that work, Susan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Curtis, either 2 weeks ago or a month ago,
Yeah, it was.
check into making or stocking the pond with fish. And I think you told me you're gonna check and see how much that would raise our liability insurance.
I don't have a report for you, Chief. I'll just state right now, I don't have that information yet.
Can we check that within the next 2 weeks?
Yes, sir.
And bring it for consideration?
Will do.
Joe Brooks.
I've already checked with an insurance agent, and as long as we go by the state laws, as far as posting no trespassing signs, it should not raise your liability whatsoever. Makes no difference whether there's fish in it or there's not fish in it. Anybody drowned in it. That's what the insurance agent told me. But there is not that one sign or two signs that says no trespassing is not legal. They've got to be every 200 feet all the way around that pond. Then you've got to put notice that only tribal members above the age of whatever age the tribal council wants to set are allowed to fish in that pond without adult supervision. I've already checked with an insurance agent. I used to hold an insurance license. I did check on that. I don't know if this tribal council is aware, but and I did bring this to our current tribal business manager, and our current chief and myself watched them shoot grade on that pond. All of the sod around that pond is now underwater. They shot a grade and then they laid the sod downhill from the grade instead of uphill. Also, that drain pipe is broke off inside of the dam, and the previous administration done nothing about it. That drain pipe needs to be fixed, and it could be raised approximately 3 to 3.5 feet to make that pond deeper. As long as the water does not flow through the old drain, it is legal, because I've talked to the city manager. So there needs to be some stuff looked into on that pond.
Joe, can you email all that information to us?
I can.
That way we can review that and follow up.
That was with Prudential Insurance Company, I checked.
And Curtis, I believe Nancy had her hand up behind would you also?
Nancy?
Yeah, but I
I'm
heard
gonna go
you.
all the way back to the front. About the child care. So they're gonna be building another building?
Yes, that's correct.
Childcare. Where would that be set at?
What they're gonna do is they're gonna move out of their operation right here on the other side of our wall. They're gonna build a building right to the south of the parking lot for the childcare, where the childcare parking is now,
Yeah.
on the south end between the parking lot and Tuxedo Boulevard.
Oh, okay. Now, I don't know if I've ever asked you before or not. I probably have, I just don't remember. Anyway, Sherry Redfield, she's building these buildings and taking in more kids. Do we get any part of that money at all? Why?
We get the entire grant. It's $800,000.
We get the grant?
That is correct. The grant is in the name of the Delaware Tribe of Indians.
That's for the
She
building,
doesn't
right?
pay this-
That's-
She's talking about the money, revenue from the daycare.
Yes, not from what
Right.
the grant is. I'm talking about the revenue that they're getting for the children.
No, we're not revenue sharing with that
Why
operation.
not?
Are there any margins to share?
I don't know. I'm not the council, I don't know anything about that, that's why I'm asking.
I'm not a child, but we'll find out.
Jean's shaking her head no, that there aren't.
It supports the childcare facility.
What's the length of them grants,
They
Gene?
maintain the.
6 years?
Sir?
Is the length of them grants 6 years? They have to run childcare for 6 years?
On the grant?
Yes.
Not that I know of. Oh, you mean, the HUD portion of them?
Yes.
I think it was 5 years.
5 years?
I think it's 5.
That's my concern. After 5 years, them buildings solely belong to Delaware Tribe of Indians that do not have to be used for child care. Why are we not charging her lease on them buildings? The only thing she's paying is utility bills and insurance,
I guarantee you that child prices are high.
way high.
And how many Delaware kids are in there anyway?
There is no Delaware preference. I tried to get mine in
Delaware
there years
preference.
ago. There's no Delaware preference.
No.
In hiring or the children.
For the kids, but I will say, when we lost our federal recognition, what happened was, she ended up having to form a nonprofit. And that's how she ended up going out from under the tribe, and of course, she kept the Delaware tribe name. Now, I don't appreciate that as a Delaware member, and I surely didn't appreciate it as needing childcare, but I also recognized how it developed, and so it's a problem now that we're federally recognized again.
I would like to maybe take on the task of, and Sherry's gone right now, but maybe I can, Sherry's going to be gone for over a month, but maybe I can find out and see their financials, or Jean, do you see their financials? You see their financials? Can I come in tomorrow and look at those? Okay. And then maybe I'll have some more answers. Nancy, go ahead.
I just wanna know how much longer they have the lease, the grant. How many years has she been there?
More than 5.
Well, and the new building is just getting ready to be built.
Joe Brooks?
All I'm going to say is we are a federally recognized tribe. We should act like one. Look in the paper and see how much even office space is going for. You're talking about a lot of money.
Could I ask a question to Jean? Jean, does the child care count on our indirect costs and our space costs?
No.
They don't even do that.
No.
But is there still something underway to bring them under the umbrella of the tribe? That was started, I don't know, when was that started, Chad? To try to do the same thing with child care as we did with the housing authority, to bring it under the umbrella of the tribe.
I have no idea. I've never heard of the child care being taken under the umbrella of the tribe, such as the housing program was.
Well, do you know about that, Curtis?
Well, we lost our funding after we lost federal recognition. They went to the Cherokee Nation and received some sort of subsidy or grant from Cherokee Nation as the Washington County Child Care Foundation, and that's what they have operated on since. We've not done an analysis of what kind of money the Delaware tribe would be able to get if they took on the operation of the child care program themselves.
You don't think it would be anything near what she gets, or?
I've not done an analysis, so I wouldn't be able to
Would it be
give
fair
you.
to say that we're stumbling around until we read the grant and
Yeah.
regulations?
I don't think we have enough information to
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
To even-
we're stabbing in the dark without the law and the grant and the regulations in front of us.
And here comes Jean.
Yes, I have to add this because there's been a lot of discussion of bringing the child care back under the
Put it closer to
tribe.
your mouth.
But they've been talking about bringing the child care back and putting it underneath this tribe. What would happen is that we don't have a service area here, that we would not have a child count. So your portion would come down to about $2,000 for the year. So with her having all the centers that were already set up and already running at the time, and you did have the child care grant and you did have a service area, they have maintained that amount. It allowed those child care centers to function because they don't want to close them down. They're really important. So that's kind of, you're kind of caught because Sherry has actually made phone calls to the funding agencies saying, if I went back to the Delaware tribe and it was completely under there, what would our allocation be? And it would be whatever number of Delaware children are in this center. And that would equate to about $2,000 a year. So it's a no-win situation.
That's odd because when we first wrote the grant, we used the Delaware count.
You did, but you had a service area.
Right, I know, it's just a catch-22, and in the end result, now we're
We're not, yes.
There's no, this is the Cherokee service area is what you're saying, so we wouldn't have a service area?
That's correct.
Yes. And the other thing too, I would like to ask, Jean, you may know the answer. How much does she get now annually compared to the $2,000 that she would get if she switched over?
She gets about 1.5 million.
1.5 million?
Yes.
Oh, well, that's quite
Now
a
she has
difference.
3 centers right now.
Right.
Well, now, she said in the meeting last week that she has contracted out the Chelsea Center. She doesn't do that one anymore.
Okay, but she still has Bright Beginnings and this one. So, and it's been a struggle the last few years, keeping it
Yeah.
open.
Okay.
Joe Brooks?
That should not be her privilege to contract that out. The grant's up on the Chelsea Center. That should be the tribe contracting that out.
Well, she's
Once
under that
the grant's
foundation,
up.
Joe. She's under that foundation with
Well-
the Cherokee Nation.
But she's not getting anything on the Chelsea Center if she contracted it out, put it under somebody else. She's receiving the proceeds where the tribe should be receiving them proceeds. The grant is way up at Chelsea, Oklahoma. That building has been there probably 15 years.
If
It's
we
been there a
say
long time.
wrong, we ought to turn it over to Inspector General and let's move on.
Yeah.
If there's something wrong, let's take it to the Inspector General and let's move on.
There's something wrong with the child care picture.
Okay, all
period.
right. I would like to make a motion that we take a 10-minute break.
Do I hear a second?
second.
All in favor? Aye.
Chief, my takeaway here is I'm going to come up with the tax information on the Caney property and follow up on the pond. All right, thank you.
Your email doesn't work. Trying to
Yeah, if you would just try to do that. I did see you, adjusting camera and things like that, but we've all been clicking minutes and things like that.
I'm going to call this meeting back to order, and the next item on the agenda was a discussion of the return of tribal assets.
Yes, I wanted to put that on there because as of yet, we have not received the Surface Pro that Jennifer Tonik has that belongs to the tribe. It is a tribal asset. And I think we need to figure out what we're going to do.
Yes, I said the only one. Could I ask a question real quick before I forget? I haven't got my DIN yet. Has it gone out?
Okay, can we get through with this topic first?
Okay. Yeah, I'll just write it down.
Is there a cell phone too? Where we can
Well, I think the cell phone I think Jim Creed had a cell phone that cost $400 or $500. That was purchased just about a month or two. Curtis, do you know the date on that cell phone, or Gene? Gene's not here now.
I do not know the particular date on that contract.
Okay, we need a copy of that because of these criminal charges against Mr. Creed. And Gene, you wouldn't, and I don't expect you to know this, off the top of your head, know how much that cell phone was that Jim Creed got just a couple of months before he was fired?
We'd have to look it up. I didn't do it.
Okay, I would like a copy of that. Also, does anybody have any suggestions to get the Surface Pro back?
File a writ of replevin. You file a writ of replevin, which is writ, W-R-I-T, of replevin, R-E-T-L-I. I don't have spell check. But it's basically an order of the court for them to return.
And we file that in our court or in district court?
You could file it in our court. I don't know if the order would be necessarily enforceable in the state of Oklahoma. You may have to go under what used to be called Rule 29 or 30 and file it in Washington County Court for 30 days before it becomes enforceable.
Would you repeat that?
I don't know, all I know is that Jennifer was trying to get a court order, and she said that the sheriff said that they would recognize the Delaware court order.
They would?
They would.
That's fine.
I don't know that for sure.
Well,
the normal court rule previously published by the Supreme Court was that you had to take a tribal court order, file it in the district court of the state for so long.
Well, we've written a letter demanding for it to be returned December 5th, so it's time we follow through.
the state will uphold the tribal court's decision.
I actually think they're required to give our tribal court full faith and credit for any tribal court decision, so long as our court has has jurisdiction over the matter, and of course, our court would have, because it was the tribe's property, and only tribal members are involved in it.
Right. And I think that's a difference in that and the Jim Creed, because Jim Creed is not a tribal member. So we have to go outside and his criminal charges. We can't file those in our tribe because he is not Delaware.
Okay, so who's gonna do that, and?
I can work on that tomorrow in my spare time.
Right.
In regard to the Jim Creek matter and the car, I think, well, I don't think I know, Mr. Nate Young has already talked to an FBI agent, and would yield the floor tonight to address that issue.
Thank you, Chief. The best thing I can say right now is I've had numerous conversations with the FBI, and I shouldn't say any more because there are people in this room who are, can't hear?
It's not working.
Oh, it's not working, it's like me.
Give him yours.
There are people in this room who are, could be considered, oh, okay, thank you. Could be considered, the term is people of interest, so therefore I'm not going to, without divulging, all I can say is it is in the works.
Thank you, Nate.
And I will follow up tomorrow on a court filing in our tribal court.
New business. Would the secretary please read the heading of resolution 2015-08?
Resolution 2015-08, a resolution of the Tribal Council of the Delaware Tribe of Indians to adopt a voluntary compliance agreement with the Housing and Urban Development, or HUD. Under now, therefore, be it resolved, the Delaware Tribal Council hereby approves and adopts a voluntary compliance agreement with HUD regarding implementation of applicable federal non-discrimination requirements in the operation of its housing programs. Chief Chuck Brooks is authorized to execute said agreement on behalf of the tribe.
I'll make a motion, we approve this resolution.
Do I hear a second?
She's got a question over here.
Okay.
Is it okay to speak? All right. I think.
Point of order. Point of order.
Yeah, I know. Wait
Get
a
a second first, and then go into discussion.
I know, I just now remembered, Joe. You didn't have to remind me.
I'm reminded.
Seconded. Nancy.
On the applicable federal, okay, the non-discrimination requirements in the operation of this housing program, could you specify what that means? The non-discrimination on what requirement, what does that entail?
I'm gonna call Ron up, but basically it's non-discrimination against people with disabilities in their housing, if they need service dogs or anything to assist them. But Ron, if you will please kind of address this question, we'd appreciate it.
Stop eating.
Just as you get started eating.
basically, is when an individual has a service animal, we cannot disallow that animal just because it's an animal. If there is a need by that individual to have that animal, we must, accept it, which will require us to modify our policies a little bit. But by doing so, and with this non-discrimination, we'll just prove that we are on the right track with those that are in need in such situations as that. Basically, that's what we're covering.
But is that person required to have a certificate that this is a service animal and not just a dog?
Not required, nor are there any legal requirements regarding that. If the person feels they have a need for it.
Like a person with depression?
Yes, and that animal is helpful to that person's ability to move around and operate and be friendly. There's no need for us to disallow that dog or cat to live with that or stay with that person, even though we may have a policy that may say otherwise. Again, we may go ahead and have to modify our current policy as it is.
But that would also be just one animal, not several.
Okay, now, do they have to put a deposit up for that animal?
For a service animal, I don't think they do. Now, for a pet, yes. But
anybody can say that they have a service animal.
You have to identify and declare a disability that would require a service animal first. You have to go on record as saying, I have a disability, I need to have a service animal, we enter it into the record, and they are not classified as a pet, therefore we cannot have a pet deposit. It is not arbitrary where they can just declare at any moment, I need to have this animal. It has to be declared on the application first, and then they can identify the service animal. And our policies did not address this issue at all, and that's why with a voluntary compliance agreement at this time, we will comply with existing HUD regulations, and then we are developing updated and upgraded policies that will directly address the issue and institute them by a vote of the tribal council at a later time.
Okay.
I want to ask a question about that last, since Principal Chief Chet Brooks is authorized to execute the agreement on behalf of the tribe. Why is that clarification in there? When your name is, it's a place for him to sign it on the bottom of it.
Right, it's just the way Amanda Proctor wrote it, so I just think there's not a problem with it if the attorney put it in there.
We're going to revise it. Before I sign it, we'll revise that, so it's not.
Did you understand what I was talking about?
Yes, I understand.
Our chief is the person that has to sign it anyway. They wouldn't accept any other signature.
I think she probably used an Osage document to write this. So.
Okay, thanks.
Call for question.
Question's been called on resolution 2015-08. All in favor of the resolution, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 08 passes. Can you read the title and the whereas of resolution 2015-09?
A resolution of the Tribal Council of the Delaware Tribe of Indians authorizing the redemption of the certificate of deposit in the amount of $344,444.65 to pay the line of credit at Bank First. I'm going to go ahead and read more of the whereases on this one so everybody understands this. Whereas the Tribal Council of the Delaware Tribe of Indians has determined the need to repay Bank First for our line of credit number 2390 in the amount of $298,429.65 plus interest accruing of approximately $1,000 interest, whereas said loan was secured by certificate of deposit number 60020000549 in the name of the Delaware Tribe of Indians in the amount of $344,444.65. And now therefore be it resolved that the Tribal Council of the Delaware Tribe of Indians does hereby authorize the redemption of certificate of deposit number 6 blah blah blah, which will mature on January 24th, 2015, to repay the line of credit number 2390 in the amount of $298,429.65 plus the accrued interest of approximately $1,000. Yet further resolved that the remaining funds from the certificate of deposit from number 549 be converted to cash and remitted to the Delaware Tribe of Indians for deposit into the tribe's general fund.
I'll make a motion, we approve Resolution 2015-09.
Second that motion.
Motion's been made and seconded that we approve resolution 2009. Susan.
I'm not Harris. I'm sorry, Susan, go ahead.
Why is the remainder going back into general funds? Why didn't you just put that back into another CD and continue to draw interest on it? And was this amount that we are repaying from DFMS?
Absolutely.
That was what they used for operating, so we're having to repay out of our CD.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing we can do, we have to repay it. I mean, yeah.
Well, can we, or would it be feasible, instead of putting this $46,015 back into general fund, why not put the money back into another CD? Sure, it's not going to be $1 million, whatever, but,
Right. But I think
at least it's drawing interest.
Right,
and
but I
not
think at
just
this
being
point,
able to use.
right, I think at this point though, we have spent more than $46,000 paying off bills and stuff of theirs.
There's still some outstanding.
There's still
liability.
outstanding bills. We're still trying to, like, we gotta pay the taxes and things, I think.
Oh, keep giving them, why did they keep giving them money when they were going down?
I refuse to answer that, because I don't know.
That's all that.
It is.
Yeah, all we can do at this point is clean up the mess, and we hope that, you know, that we can actually clean it all up with what we have.
We're just legally responsible to pay it. I mean, we don't have a choice. But Nikki, Bank First, I believe, is misspelled in the title.
Yes, ma'am.
Could those individual people that worked at DFMS be sued? For the money that they spent, apparently it was no good.
Yeah, you could. The problem is, what could you collect?
Well, that's true.
Future earnings?
We could spend some money hoping they have future earnings that aren't exempt under the law. For example, your home is exempt, your car is exempt, a certain amount of your income is exempt. I mean, I'm highly sympathetic. Well, I'm sorry. I'm highly sympathetic because it's a mess that you'll never see this council create, because we will monitor and be told what's going on. If you recall, we have a finance director back there who was relieved of her duty because she was telling us. Of course, many of us didn't know she was really well. Some knew, but some of us didn't know. I don't think she
Some didn't want to know.
that she's being relieved of duty. This is a mess, unfortunately, that we're going to have to clean up. It's a very sad, sad thing.
That's $344,000.
Absolutely.
It's actually probably closer. Gene, how much did we lose it last year? It's on the report. I think it was 100 and something. We've lost about 500,000 probably. But we had some high-paid janitors.
That's not counting the money they robbed from housing.
That's, to put it bluntly, a mouthful of bullets to bite. But I do agree with our other council members. We have no choice but to pay it.
Damn shame.
It is a shame, but it's why you need to be careful who you vote for.
Are you guys gonna have an oversight committee to make sure that doesn't happen with Toki or?
Tacos, right.
Or
We're gonna watch that one very closely.
Are you gonna have an overseer on that?
We are, 7 of us.
And we're-
Well, there were 7 on the last one.
And
What
then-
the hell
well-
happened?
No, there was 4 the last time.
Was there?
There's 3 of us that,
And yeah, Tacos has to report monthly or bi-monthly, and DFMS never had to turn in financials at all, so we the people knew nothing. But you're gonna see the financials on Tacos.
There will be a bi-monthly report through Taco and an annual audit each year in order for us to be able to move forward and maintain the business. So there will be
As long as it
accountability.
doesn't happen again is all I care about.
Right, no, we're not gonna let it happen.
there's 7 other people, including the treasurer, who doesn't want to see this ever happen again.
I think there's more like 20, because these people right here is gonna oversee you.
Right,
so-
absolutely.
And
And you
I love
should.
every bit of that,
You
Joe.
should. Call for question.
I see something wrong. I'm gonna challenge.
Question's been called. All in favor of approving the distasteful resolution 2015-09, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution passes.
A resolution of the Tribal Council of the Delaware Tribe of Indians to appoint Jimmy Johnson to the position of manager of Taco pt2. Now therefore be it resolved, the Delaware Tribal Council of the Delaware Tribe of Indians does hereby agree, acknowledge, and name Jimmy Johnson to the position of manager according to Article 5 of the operating agreement for Taco pt2, and shall be entitled to the authorities outlined in that agreement.
I'll make a motion to approve 2015-10.
I'd second that motion.
Discussion.
Man, I'm still reading.
Are you sure you can do this, Jimmy? I just gotta give him a bad time. Are you gonna work harder on this one? Just teasing.
I think we,
Okay, that's what it was.
Joe Brooks.
Have you all studied what the environmental grant says? And can he do this without creating a conflict of interest?
yes.
Yes, we've
Already reviewed that grant?
Yep.
Okay,
Jimmy has and we have.
okay. Just making sure.
That's all I was gonna ask.
Question been called. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The resolution passes, I think.
I have new business.
Other new business.
I have some new business. Are you surprised? I want to show y'all this right here. This is a mock-up of a car tank. We met with the Attorney General of the Cherokee Nation last week, and they are agreeable that we can get our own car tags. We'll have to do it through the Cherokees because of the MOA, but they will be similar to this. You'll still go to the Cherokee Tag Agency to get them. All you have to have is your, whatever you would have, your title and your insurance and your Delaware. You'll have to have your photo ID. If you don't have a new one, you need to get one. And you can get this, if you already have a Cherokee tag, you can just go in with your tribal card and they will swap out your Cherokee tag for one of these.
Question.
Yes?
Do you have a veteran Delaware tag?
Not yet. We just started this Friday. It's Tuesday. I only started working on this yesterday, Susan.
However, Susan, I do believe that the Cherokees do sell veteran tags that say Cherokee Nation at a lower price.
But they are more than the state of Oklahoma, so why would anybody want to get one through the Cherokee Nation?
But I think we Delaware should consider having our own veteran tag.
I really think.
It's a great idea, and I think we should suggest that.
Yeah, I think it'd be agreeable.
Joe, I didn't like a timeline, how soon it would be. It sounded like it was going to be soon. Can you announce that?
I think it can. I mean, we have to present them our design. They have to go through the state of Oklahoma. They got to go through the Oklahoma Tax Commission. Law enforcement has to have these things on record. So if they pull up behind you and run your tag, these are in there. Go ahead, Nikki.
Yeah, I spoke with Todd Humphrey earlier today, the AG, and they're ready. They said bring a mock-up. We're ready to go.
So did they mention how much does the tribe will make on each tag?
No, I think we still have to iron that out.
Okay.
But
we will make per tag, so to encourage all of our people to go get one.
right, and the Cherokees know that it's going to increase their sales because there's a lot of Delawares that say, I'm not going to go get a Cherokee tag because I'm not Cherokee. So they know it's going to increase the sales. Plus, you'll be able to get them regardless where you live in Oklahoma. Cherokee tags are sold now statewide, not just in the 12 or 14 counties. So if you've got relatives that live out in western Oklahoma, they can get one.
Joe Brooks?
So we will get a percentage of these sales back to our people?
Yes, but we don't know what percentage, so yeah.
We'll negotiate with the Cherokees for disabled American veterans. Should have a car tag, they should meet the price of the state of Oklahoma, which is $5.
$5 in addition to what the tag costs?
No, $5 period. I can tag up to 2 vehicles a year for $5 a piece. If I buy a new car, a disabled veteran pays no excise tax. You can buy a new car every 3rd year. So negotiate with them on them points.
Okay.
Because a lot of veterans are going to stick with the state of Oklahoma unless you match that.
Right, right. So we're just starting. Come on, line up, people. We're trying to do something good here.
I know.
Yeah. Also, if we can show the Cherokees how much more tags they're going to sell, it'll probably help our negotiations. So I'd like to ask a question. How many of you Delawares in this room now have a Cherokee tag?
I have Cherokee and Pawnee.
I wouldn't buy one because it wasn't Delaware.
Traders.
5. Okay. Now, did I miss one out there that I?
Back there.
6. Now, how many Delawares in this room that have a car that don't have a Cherokee tag would get a Delaware tag through the Cherokees.
We get to.
All of us.
If it's cheaper than a state tag. The reason I don't have a Cherokee tag is because my tag through the state was cheaper than the Cherokee tag.
That's me.
And if you had a veteran's tag,
Okay, we'll work on that just for you and Joe. We have to have at least 2 of
We
them.
don't know what the prices are yet.
Right.
We really don't.
Like I said, we just met Friday with them, this came up, they were very receptive, we were very receptive. It may not be something we all agree on, it may not fit everybody's pocketbooks, but we feel like for our tribe, it's something good finally. You could drive a car that says Delaware Tribe on the back of it instead of Cherokee Nation. And if you want to see them.
And we'll still have the Lenape tags for the front of it.
Jamie?
did we have an input on how it was designed? There was no asking for input on.
No, I just called up, I just designed it, because they said they need something quick. So, that could, to get everybody in agreement, it could take forever.
Yes, we don't.
Joe Brooks has his hand up.
Joe Brooks.
I want to say something good for Chief Bill John Baker. I called him on I think it was on a Friday evening, on his cell phone, and told him I was at one of the casinos, and they was trying to charge me sales tax as a disabled veteran. He said, well, Joe, I can't take care of it tonight, but I'll guarantee you it'll be taken care of Monday. Monday, he issued an order to all the casinos. If somebody has a disabled veteran's card, you are tax exempt, but now they're issuing their own card through the Cherokee Nation.
Okay.
You have to send it. So that chief has done everything he said he would do about working with the Delawares.
Yeah.
And I applaud him for that.
And like I said, they were very receptive in this meeting Monday. It was a really good meeting. Okay, now after the tags, I gave all the council members a planner you might want to look at. I thought everybody could look at it and see what they thought. I got it in a Word document where you could go in. I just put the wording in there just to make something up. That means nothing. But if you want to look at it and see, we might want to implement it for some of our departments to use. I'll share one with Curtis after the meeting. Also, I would like to see us, and this just came up on the reports, to get copies made of the reports for the people when they come in the door. The department reports. Would that help you all? Yes, no? You would like to see, I mean, we post them, but it's well after the meeting. It's not before.
No, I would think that if you guys don't need them after your meeting, I'll take a copy.
Okay, but you don't think we need to furnish it before the meeting?
No, I don't.
Okay. All right. Okay. You can have my copies.
Okay.
Also, tomorrow night is the, besides the trust board meeting at 4, it's the Monterey's evening with the discount.
Yes, I'm going. I'm going.
All right. Also on February 14th, Valentine's Day, the Delaware War Mothers are having a garage sale, bake sale, bean lunch from 8 to 2. Then that afternoon at 4 o'clock, the Elders Committee and the Cultural Preservation Committee are co-hosting a stomp dance. I will try to make sure, there's maybe some flyers out on the tables, but we'll get it put on Facebook and on the website hopefully before the end of the week about those two.
Have we notified the other tribes?
We're sending out those flyers. I just got the flyer done yesterday.
Okay.
And I wanted to wait until last night to have somebody with cultural preservation look at it and approve it, and they liked it, so we'll be sending those out before the end of the week.
We're going to have homemade chili.
Okay, and also, at our next meeting, I believe Cherokee Nation Councilor Dick Lay will be here.
Deer,
he had sent me an email and said he would like to come pay his respects. So I'm inviting him for the February 3rd meeting.
Does anybody?
Is he coming to give a political, to run for office right now?
He's coming to pay his respects to the new council.
Oh.
Could be political, we don't know.
Well, okay, the question for the DIN, I haven't received it yet, is it out?
Just whenever.
It just went out?
Greg is finishing it up and it's going out ASAP. So, yeah, to be printed. Yes, ma'am.
Have you guys made any attempt to get with the Western Delaware people to maybe invite them up and repair relationships?
As a matter of fact, we had a visit with them this afternoon.
I'm still really good friends with them too, so we'll you know, and Levi did a lot for that, but we're absolutely right.
I'm talking about like a social invitation like February 14th.
We're definitely going to send that to them and invite them, and they talk to us about Economic Development Day, kind of bounce things off each other that, you know, they have ideas, we have ideas, things like that we could work together.
Who's their chief? Who's their chief now?
Peacock. Clifford Peacock.
Like I see my wife back there in the colony, visit every year.
Yeah.
It would be nice if we could develop that kind of relationship.
And I think with this council we can.
Sure we can.
Receptive.
Do I hear further new business?
I'll second the motion to go into executive session.
Motion's been made and seconded to go into executive session
Personnel reasons.
for personnel reasons.